Hi everyone. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. So there's no why. I don't know why. So it went away. So I'm just here with the phone internet. So I don't know how you will see it, but well, let's do whatever we can. So for sure you will see me bad today. But the important thing is for you to be able to listen. So the topic for today is something that concerns us all because the topic today is networks. So the word network is basically the word net comes from in English comes from the French, which is ne, means clean, something that is clean, and this comes from the Latin netere, that means shine, something that is shiny, that is perfect, that is something that is clear. And this concept comes from the origin of the words netus or nexus, nectere, that means to weave something, so we can connect different parts that are separated. So basically, it's like creating a tissue. This creation of these tissues for clothes and these kind of things. Eventually in history, this concept of creating something that is all connected, that is all weaved, came to describe something that is very how to say, like fancy and fashion and shiny. So that's why the same concept that is about connecting things was a word related to something that is clean and clear. So for a long time, the word net was used in English, something like that, something which is clean. And eventually, in history, the people start to use the word net to describe something that was very organized, that is like very clear, like a pattern of how do you say, of railways or roads or whatever, these kind of things. Something that was very clear and understandable was called a net. And that's how it became a synonym of a connection between different things that are very well organized. So from the word net comes also the word nexus, and the word nexus gave the name to connection. Okay, co-nexus means the nodes that are together. So co-nexus. And that's the origin of the word connection. And the reason why we call it network also is because the people used to work for the things to be clean and clear. So that's why they call it a work netting or a net of work. And then it become together like network. So just a little bit of the history of the words so we can understand from where it comes from and why we use them, okay? So of course that then in this world we have another word, which is webs. The web is not describing exactly the net, it's describing like the spider web, which is a tissue of organic tissue that we imitated to describe what is a network. If you can hear, that's the praying. It's 5 times a day, so it became, now's the time. So so eventually the concept of networks at the beginning in history was only related to tissues, to things that you have weaved like clothes. But then we started to use these words to describe other kind of tissues, like the organisms, the muscles, the connection with other populations, everything that can describe kind of the same structure of different nodes connecting to shape something bigger. We started to use this concept for that. So it spread the idea of networks. The concept that we have today about networks has started mainly when a few years ago, a few decades ago, when the trains started to work around the world, when the railways were spread in different countries, the stations where the trains would stop, they would became like kind of nodes in a network that would communicate the different individuals, the different people that were in different villages. So people started to get connected in these networks of trains, and also information products also started to be connected along the world, and this connection allowed also the information to come to every corner of the world to notify everyone about mails. So this communication of the trains that created the networks helped people to create like this subconscious idea of being connected, of networks of people. This communication of networks created an organic idea of information. So it started to create many networks and changed the point of view of people that we communicated in an organic way and not only in a pyramidal way. So it helped many networks, new networks to appear in the reality. So basically, this idea of networks that was created helps us to understand that many new ways in which individuals can communicate and connect to one another along the world without the need of someone that is in the middle. So this made that in the 40s and the 50s, we started to look for new kinds of communication to one another that could be much more flexible. But because we already had the radio, TV, Morse code, but all of them were controlled by one entity. So it was not from people to people. So around the 60s, they managed to create something new, which was a net that allows us to communicate, sharing data from one point to another, using different communications from in distance to exchange data. So exchange data is what we say inter. So that's why we call it internet. Internet is basically the interactive communication in kind of an order. This makes that many people start to use this kind of communication, and it evolved until what we have today since the 70s and 80s, creating the internet that we know today. But let's go into the philosophical aspect that brought the function of networks. The main philosophical concept that we got from the networks is that we were able now to see how nature works in networks, not in a pyramidal way. So something important to see here is how we started to change the concept of nature and reality. Like, for example, we started to understand that in nature there is no kingdoms, that there are networks of things. So it maybe seems very silly what I will say, but is the key of everything here. When we started to see the networks around us, science, spirituality, culture, everyone started to see the world as networks instead of kingdoms, instead of hierarchies. So our brain was used for thousands of years to see the reality divided in kingdoms, countries, nations, and empires. So we start to call everything as kingdoms. The kingdom of minerals, the animal kingdom, the vegetal kingdom, the human kingdom, and the kingdom of the heavens, the kingdom of God. And we started to name all that as kingdoms. And of course, when we think in our families, also was organized as a kingdom, with dad on the top, mom under it, and then the kids. So as we see the entire society organized in a hierarchy, because everything that we have around was hierarchy, until suddenly we started to see the networks. So science started to see how the trees doesn't have a kingdom, they work with the roots, and they connect branches and the roots in a network. They see animals migrating in networks. They see the waves of the ocean in currents that are also network. We started to see networks in nature and also in ourselves. So there was no kingdoms anymore. It is all about networks. I was saying in Spanish that have you ever been looking into a tricky painting and you cannot understand what it is until someone comes and says, there's a cat there, and you suddenly see the cat. Why it happens like this? Because your brain cannot see something until someone or something around can tell you or point about that thing that it was hidden. So suddenly you saw it. This is what was happening. So as you can see, networks, we're always there, all the time. But until we didn't experience what is to be in a network, we didn't see the networks around. So suddenly, a lot of people is waking up saying, if we work in networks right now, why do we need hierarchy? Why do we need presidents and kings or queens or these kind of leaders in the world if we have the networks? So we have to question ourselves. That's the question. And the proper answer to that question would be that even if you have the tool, it means that you know how to use the tool. That's why we have still the old systems. So not understanding how it works, it would be like this example. Like, imagine you want to take a trip to the other side of the planet, and you say, I want to fly there, and someone says, well, here you have an airplane, so you can use the airplane. Would you know how to fly an airplane just like that? No. Even if you have the tool, which is the airplane, to fly to the other side, it doesn't mean that you know how to fly it. So you have to learn many things. You have to learn so many things in order to know how to fly an airplane, that even if you have the tool, you won't be able to do it. So this is exactly what is happening with us right now. We have the internet, which is like the airplane, but we have no idea how to use it. We don't know how to fly with it. So basically, we are a kid of 5 years old that we are playing with a toy, with a tool that we just discovered we were able to do. Like, we put 3 or 4 things together and we created something new, and we are just discovering what it is, but we are still playing. We today have a tool of the 21st century, but we still live our lives like if we are in the Middle Ages 1500 years ago. So this is not about whether I like or not the old system. It's about if I am capable of let that system go from myself, go away from myself, and to adapt and to understand how it works, the new one. So if today we eliminate the old system to create a new one, it would be a crisis, because we would have not the tools to understand how it works. So this is why we need so much inner healing. This is why we need to work with ourselves, to clean our history, to acknowledge our traumas, to face our conflicts. We have to make the peace with our history, with everything that we carry within. So this is why we are doing this. In these past 300 days, we have been learning about the world, changing our point of view, trying to understand the reality we live in, trying to connect with ourselves, to understand who we are. It's a process of education. This is a process for a whole life. So what we have been living as a humanity, humanity has been in this planet only for 300,000 years. Only 300,000 years. And in that period of time, we have been doing all what we have done, what we have created as a humanity. And it's nothing compared to the history of the planet. We are still learning. It's a constant process of learning. And we are still kids. We are still childs for the planet. And this is an important thing for us to realize. That we are not something from the outside of the planet, aliens that came and we are living in this world. We have been evolving in this planet from thousands and millions of years, so we are part of this. It's not that it's the planet and us, and we are hurting the planet. It's the planet hurting itself. It's us. We are the planet too. So we are, whatever we are doing to the world is the world doing it to itself. And it's important to understand this because we are just a tiny part of the process of awakening of this planet. And to have the whole picture, if you can take the history of the planet as, if we can take the history of the planet as a whole year, like a whole calendar, humanity has been in this planet for the last 2 hours of the last day. 2 hours. These 300,000 years is only 2 hours of the last day. And in the last minute of, only 1 minute has been the last 200 years. And everything that we are doing now. So basically we are kids, just a baby that took some painting and start to paint the walls of the house because they don't know where to paint, they don't know how to use the paper. So this baby started to paint everything, the bed, the walls and everything, doing a mess. That's what is happening. This is just a tiny part of the process that the earth is in its own awakening, discovering a new way of understanding itself. So this is what is important to get from this is that we can complain and criticize everything that humanity can do, and the evil of humanity and all these kind of things. And we can complain of all of that, but suddenly, if we want to be aware and conscious of this, take a deep breath and go beyond and go farther and see the history of humanity, and you will see area above that is just this. It is just 2-3 baby steps in the entire history. And like a baby, it can cry, it can make noise, it can grab the hair and try to pull it. So we are just a baby playing. And suddenly someone gave us a smartphone to this baby. the last iPhone on the market, and the baby suddenly has networks. So until this moment when the baby got the iPhone, the baby knew only two images in his life: mom and dad. Dad, the heaven; mom, the earth. And we had only these two options. And we were like in love with these two options. Like, I want to be like my dad, the skies. I want to be protected by my mom, the earth. And that was the vision, like baby, with mom and dad. And suddenly, the baby got the iPhone and opened it. And inside, he discovered many options of mom and dad. So many ways to understand mom and dad that suddenly it starts to ask itself, were mom and dad really real? Did they exist at the first point? Or what is mom and dad? Maybe it's not what I believed. Maybe it's a different way. So thanks to the networks, suddenly we start to see the reality in a very different way, in which it's not anymore like before, like mom and dad, good and bad. It changed. So when we start to become aware, conscious, the point of view is very different. Sometimes we believe that we are aware, that we are conscious, but we are not. Because to be conscious is to recognize that we are not superior by being conscious. Being conscious is to recognize that we are just in a process of learning. And we cannot judge someone that is learning from a very short period of time, that we have been doing this for a very short period of time. When we start to change our point of view, we have to think that plants, we can say plants work perfectly and they are so amazing. Why can't we work like them? Well, trees, they are perfect for the world because they have been here since around 200 million years. They have evolved for millions of years. So they know how the planet works. They know how it works. $65 million years ago, mammals started to rule the planet. 3 million years ago, only 3 million years ago, hominids to rule the world, like us, humans. 300,000 years ago, humanity started to exist. 10,000 years ago, the first civilizations. And just 50 years ago, internet. So this is why we cannot work as a perfect society as the trees work, because it's been only 50 years that we have been learning how a network works, looking in our roots, going to the past, understanding the roots, understanding the branches, and how it is to give without expecting anything. It's been very short of time in which a huge amount of people started to realize about these things. So this is why I don't like to say that there is an evil and a good. I would like to say that we are just learning. So just parenthesis. I'm not saying with this that I don't believe that there are evil creatures in different dimensions and all these kind of things and aliens and so on. No. I'm just saying that we have to be responsible for what is our part in this evolution. So in the next 2,000 years, we will be connecting to what we call the networks. We will be living what a network is, and it also will allow us to connect to other beings in different dimensions, in different worlds that live right now the idea of networks. But the only way we will accomplish that is if we as a whole humanity manage to leave behind the idea of hierarchies. And one other important thing here is that in 2,500 years, the age of Capricorn will begin. And for sure will be very different. So we will have to leave behind the ideas of Aquarius. So what we have in front is not the age of the great truth of humanity and all these kind of things that we can think about. It's just another process. It's not about the age of consciousness. It's about the age of networks. Along the next 2,000 years, we will understand the whole universe through the concept of networks. But maybe in Capricorn, we will have a very different way to understand the universe. What we are doing here is basically to work for the reconstruction of the conscious network, the networks of consciousness, which is to help ourselves to rebuild the idea that there's no need for hierarchy, that we all are doing something important, and we have to be all connected. So we have two tasks in our time regarding networks. The first one is of the reconnection of the planetary network. The planetary network is to reconnect the idea of the sacred spots of the planet where the information is received, and that's what we are doing, traveling to the nodes. And on the other hand, the reconstruction of an awareness, of a network of consciousness, would be to help us discern our inner power and to know how to follow ourselves inside. So basically, what we are doing with the reconnection of networks is to understand that the nodes of the planet are spots where we can receive information, and as we can connect the different tissues of the reality, the different networks of the reality of this world as a whole pattern of information, we can also access to that information to become aware and know how to manage to create a new reality for a new humanity. So these days I've seen a comment that told me that it's pretty what I explained, that because it's all philosophical and beautiful and whatever, but it's not useful. It's like, what is the practical part of all this? Like, you're not doing anything. You're not doing nothing for humanity because you're just talking. And I would like answer to that. I have been 325 days sharing every day concepts to help people to understand the questions that they have in order for them to start to do what they are supposed to do. So I would like to clarify this. The time of saviors has ended. It's out of fashion. So my part is to share. And because we are in networks, in the network time, is the work of each one of you to know what you're going to do with this. What is your part in all of this? Because I'm not going to do that. Everyone has something to do. So just wanted to clarify this concept. So it's important to understand that in the time of networks, nobody will come to do everything for the others. In time of networks, everyone has to do what they know what to do. And what I guess that I know how to explain, so that's why I explain. This is time of networks, so let's work with ourselves networks. The vibration for today is Q. The statement today is I am polarity's product. The code today is one of the Atlantean families named Coides. In honor of one of the 12 guardians of the doors of the world, we pronounce their name, Coides. Sit comfortable, close your eyes, and concentrate in your breathings. I take a deep breath, becoming aware of my entire physical body. I pay attention to my feet from to my head. I start to move softly every joint. I move the ankle, knees, hip, the entire spine, fingers, wrist, elbows and shoulders, neck, and the jaw. I start to yawn as I stretch body, moving it softly, slow, like in a dance. In these soft movements, I try to recognize each part of my body. I allow myself to caress and touch each part of my body, recognizing that I am a conjunction of networks. The networks of my body, of my soul and my spirit, starting by the fall in my skin, bones, muscles, nerve system, circulatory system. I can feel as I touch the body, recognizing all these networks inside, as I also recognize the networks of emotions from the hormones outside in aura, the links, the bonds that we have with feelings, sensation, and also in the spiritual level, the magnetical field all around. I can feel the information in this network that goes all through me. I am. I touch and caress the physical, emotional, and mental, recognizing myself a network of networks. and discern each part of this network. So in this way, I can recognize myself as a network of consciousness. I am the network of consciousness. And I recognize that I am the product of all work that have been weaved along the past. Every animal, every being, and every subject in my tree of life, in my family tree, has been weaving what I am right now. This is how I can recognize myself as the result of a node, a nexus, and a line. I am the daughter of a polarity. The father and the mother, the pattern and the matrix. A product of polarity. I am a product of polarity. I am a product of polarity. And I honor this polarity that has been weaving the nets of my existence. I think, I think, I think I am the network of consciousness. I am the net of networks. Take a deep breath and stretch in your body, each one at its own time. Come back here and now. Thank you everybody for being here another day. See you tomorrow, as always, at the same time.